Geeks with beards, geeks with beards. Look who's here, geeks with beards. No need to fear, we're right here. We got beards, so listen clear. Geeks with beards, geeks with beards. Look who's here, geeks with beards. No need to fear, we're right here. I'm in your ear, so listen clear. No one else doing it like us. Also, we just might cuss, just cause. No, we ain't playing, and we're just saying, and we're making a podcast. It's called
Spawn. Your former self, meaning one hell-bent for leather, kick-ass, take no prisoners, government assassin by the name of Al Simmons is dead.
Hello, everybody out there. This is a new episode of the Geeks with Beards podcast. I'm Dan with Sean, and today we will be covering Spawn, #1 from May of 1992. God, dude, 33 years, man. 33 years.
You're old.
Well, I am. We both are. So before we get into it, what's been going on with you, man, since our last episode?
Well, I just got back from New Orleans.
Oh, sweet. How did that, man?
It was awesome. Mardi Gras rules.
Mardi Gras.
But other than that, we finished Cobra Kai.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing.
Now, is this it? Finale?
Yep.
Okay.
They tied it up real well. I'm not going to spoil it because it's still like within a week or so.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
But it's worth watching. As far as what I've been reading, since we're reading the first issue of Spawn, I decided to read the newest issue of Spawn.
Oh, I like the update on his outfit there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The last time I read it was around 300, like when he announced to the world that heaven and hell exist. Here you go.
I got a few of the later issues, 300 and something, and then I had some of the Gunslinger Spawn and King Spawn. I fell off of them. I quit collecting them, but I can't remember what number it was. I started collecting it again.
Well, they're in there. I just haven't read it yet.
Yeah, no, it was like 300 and something.
At least in this issue, I guess this character named Blood, B-L-U-D-D.
Okay.
I guess that's how you say it.
Okay.
He had killed a bunch of Heaven's Army in secret, and then he was after Spawn and all of Spawn's family. Mm. I guess kind of like the Bat family.
Oh, yeah. That's probably got to do with that one book he's got. Was it Scorched? I think that's the team book.
Maybe.
I think.
Yeah.
I believe.
It's been a while. So.
Yeah, yes, I know.
At this point, Spawn and his people don't have powers. They're human.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure how that happens. I guess we'll figure that out as we go.
Sure, yeah.
So he goes looking for Blood to make a deal. I guess Blood's like leader of the vampires.
Oh, okay.
In this world.
Cool, vampires, okay.
And so he goes to make a deal, and Blood's like, nah, pretty much, and he spears him, impales him, and Spawn's dead. Because he's
just normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this character comes into the panel. I don't know who this character is. Maybe you're supposed to know.
Okay.
I don't, from the look of it, and they didn't say, but they pick up Spawn. Spawn's chest lights up, and they're like, I told you this would happen. So that's how it ends. But you know how, we'll talk about it later, but in this book, the first issue, it shows that little counter.
The timer, yeah, his power, yeah.
Well, it shows that same timer in the new book as 0000.
Because he didn't have any power, right?
Is that like an ongoing thing?
Well, I know that Todd started it, and we'll talk about it here in the book. You'll notice if you pay attention to the beginning of the book and the end of the book, there's a difference in the numbers. Every time he uses his necro powers, it weakens it. The counter goes down. It was something that I don't know how long Todd did it in the comics, because I think eventually he took it out of the books, but he done it for a good little while, and it was supposed to be the way you. Because Spawn's powers are finite. They will run out if he's not careful. That's why he ends up using guns and regular weapons a lot, because if he keeps using his necro powers, he'll run out, and I guess his soul will go back to hell. I think that's how it started out being. Now, as far as the nowadays goes, I have no idea what it represents. I guess Todd brought it back at some point.
I was going to say, because I guess Todd took a break from where I last read and all the stuff you read. And this is the first issue he came back for.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I wasn't sure if like that 000 had been there before, like if he'd ran out before him.
I would have to go through the few that I have, man, when I get home, and I'll send you some pictures and see. I don't remember. Honestly, right. I honestly do not remember.
Well, if our listeners know, Fill us in.
Yeah, let us know when the power counter went away and came back in Spawn. That'd help us out a lot.
All right, Dan.
Well, I started rewatching the 1990 The Flash series starring John Wesley Shipp. Everybody remembers he came back for the CW show and played like 3-4 different characters in that series. I love that show, man. It's great. It definitely has the Tim Burton Batman feel. That's how it got made in the first place because that movie was so successful. The comic book wise, didn't really get much. Got a new issue of Transformers, which was really cool. Starscream still ain't got no legs. He still ain't got no legs.
That's disappointing.
But it is. But basically, it's picking up from the last issue where Optimus had his moment, his spasm kind of, and destroyed the dam, and they're kind of looking at the destruction. Wheeljack's asking him what's going on, what happened to you, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, I've had these visions. I don't understand what's going on. And Wheeljack basically says, well, look, until we understand really what's going on with you, you might need to stay out of the fights for a little while. And Optimus was like, no. He's like, I can't. He's like, we have to protect the planet. We have to protect Earth. And Wheeljack's like, yeah, but you're kind of unpredictable at the moment. Optimus don't listen. So then you see Starscream. He's still fudged into fighting with Thundercracker, he's left. He yeeted off last issue and he went back to the Ark because of what he told him about Skywarp. He sees Skywarp, who is all messed up, but he's connected to Teletran 1, and Thundercracker tells him, he's like, look, brother, he's like, I'm going to get you out of here. Skywarp's like, no. He's like, what do you mean no? He's like, he's like, disconnect, I die. And Thundercracker's basically like, fuck. He's like, well, don't worry. He's like, I'll figure a way to get you out of here. He said, I'm not leaving you like this. And then we jump to Cybertron, and Cliff Jumper, Lita One, Blue Streak, and a couple of others, they have collected the sparks from some dead Autobots, and Cliff Jumper's got a plan. He's like, if we can get to the whale of all sparks, he said, I think I can take these sparks and we might be able to create some new soldiers because we need help. We're outmanned. So they do. By the end of the issue, they get there, and he puts in this big container full of sparks. And he puts it in, and it creates one new Autobot. But the way it read, either the one body has multiple personalities in it. That's what I'm getting from it, because he took sparks from various different Autobots. So I'm thinking maybe their consciousnesses are all together in there. And it's cool because the body that he uses is Carly's beat up van that she drove. So basically it's the van he transforms, and it's got like the old, you remember the 80s vans that had like the barbarian murals and lightning stuff on the side of it? Well, her van was like it because she's like an artist or whatever. So when he transforms, like he's holding a sword, his chest has got like the lightning mural on it, stuff like that. The characters names themselves and says, my name is Shredhead. And I'm like, that's badass. That's really cool. I like that.
They stole that from Ninja Turtles?
Possibly. Possibly. As you can see, there's the picture there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. Other than that, I've just read a little bit of some new issues of Gotcha Man, and it's been really good. There's one shot that I read that focused on the female character, June, and she's trying to track down this biker gang that's going around robbing these big facilities and stealing things and everything like that, and finds out that they're robots, and they're good. It's an intricate comic book. It's best to read it than me try to describe it sometimes, but other than that, that's been about it, really. Other than reading Mr. Spawn #1 here.
Speaking of Spawn #1, would you like to know how we got to Spawn #1? Would you like some history?
Sure.
Well, obviously it's written, and the art is by Todd McFarlane, right? Mm-hmm. Well, he started out in like some indie comics, and then he went to Marvel.
Spider-Man?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, actually, he started on, I think his first book was The Hulk. Oh,
okay, cool.
Which I didn't know that. And then he started working on Spider-Man. And at the time, they wanted everything to be boring, like just standard. He's like, I don't really like that. So he started doing what they were wanting him to, and then he started adding and adding. Well, he eventually started getting in trouble like almost every month. Like, it was 5 times they pulled him into the editor's office, like, you need to stop this. He goes, but my books are selling more than anybody else's.
So now, remind me, because I don't remember this, was he a writer or just an artist on Spider-Man?
He was an artist.
Just an artist?
Yeah.
Oh, so they were bitching about his art?
Yes.
But I mean, my opinion, I think his art's pretty damn good.
Well, they didn't really.
I mean, he's the one that come up with that cool looking webbing and everything. Because back then it just like netting that come out of Spider-Man's web shooters. So,
and that's what he said. He's like, whether it's realistic or not, it looks cool.
Dude, yeah, it looks really cool.
And people will buy it because it looks cool. And they were like, no, you need to go back. Because when he took over, Spider-Man was in the black suit.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, I don't like this. It's not fun to draw.
See, so Spawn was 92, so that'd been what, late 80s?
Late 80s, early like 90.
Right at 90, okay.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Okay, cool.
He was doing that, and he's like, I kind of want to draw him like this. How about we take the black suit off and throw it on another character? He said that's the only reason we made Venom, because I wanted that suit off of Spider-Man.
Yeah, Venom, man.
He's like, I could draw, a big bad dude.
Big musk, yeah.
The editor's like, fine. But then he started drawing Spider-Man like in all the different poses you were talking about.
Yeah.
The editor's like, no.
But those are iconic poses.
They are. And he wanted to do like, instead of the 6-panel thing, he wanted, kind of.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
He just wanted, vary it up
to
make it interesting.
Yeah,
They're like,
definitely.
no. He's like, you know what? My book sells more than any other book here. He's like, I'm done. And he quits. And
I ain't working for the man no more.
They're like, listen, if you come back, we'll let you write and draw a new Spider-Man book.
Right.
And that's when Spider-Man #1 came out, and that was his first writing gig ever.
Okay.
All right. So he does that for a while, and he's like, you know what? I'm making like 4% off these books, and they're selling millions.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
So he's like, and he's getting tired of being called in the office, so to speak.
So even though they gave him a book to write and draw, they still bitched at him.
They
about
still
stuff.
bitched at him.
Damn, man.
Yeah. He couldn't catch a break. So he started talking to Mark Silvestri and Jim Lee. Actually, Jim Lee was the last one of the last two on board.
Oh, okay.
And they started they're like, you know what? Let's just start our own company. If it fails, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's how they started Image.
Okay.
He went to tell Marvel, he's like, we're starting our own company, just so you know. They're like, whatever.
Yeah, because at the time, Marvel was probably the top dog over DC even then at the time, probably, weren't they?
They're about even.
About even.
Yeah. And he's like, all right, just letting you know. And then he goes over to DC, he's like, we're starting our own company. Just so you know.
Fair warning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, whatever, we don't care.
Exactly.
We ain't got competition.
Exactly, yeah.
So then they had a meeting. There was 4 of them. I can't remember the first 4.
Was it Todd, Mark Silvestri? Was Layfield one of them? Rob Layfield, was he one of them?
I believe so.
And then you said Jim was toward the end, right?
Yeah, Jim and somebody else were towards the end because there were 7 of them.
I watched the documentary, but I don't remember them.
Okay. Well, they start doing that, and everybody's got their own book. They keep 100% of everything.
Yeah, creator own. Yeah.
So if they want to take it,
which kind of bit them in the butt though when they started leaving, didn't it?
Well, Todd was like, if you don't want to be here, I don't want you here.
Right.
That was like his whole mentality, and he still maintains that. Yeah, it may have bit him in the ass, but
maybe just a little bit.
He said that he could sell 100,000 comics and make more than he was making a Marvel selling.
Of course, yeah, because he's keeping 100% of the profit.
Yeah.
So
it was really interesting.
Well, not 100%, but more than because you still got to run the company and everything else.
Besides the cost of it.
Yeah.
You
right,
keep 100%.
Yeah, you're still making more. Yeah.
And if you get any toy deals, movie deals, you keep that too.
Oh yeah, Todd dipping that finger in everything, man.
Yeah, well, like the creator.
Oh,
not just Todd, like everybody.
Everybody else, yeah.
He did come up with this is the last thing I got. He came up with Spawn when he was 16 years old.
Okay.
His actual wife's name is Wanda.
And I think Al was a college buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And in this issue, there's a mistake with the costume because it wasn't supposed to be like a living, breathing costume. It was just supposed to be like
just
a normal
regular costume.
Yeah, clothing.
Okay.
Well, he made a mistake, and then one of the readers called him out on it. In the next issue, he's like, you know what? It's a living being. It does its own thing. It transforms and mutates.
I might have missed that when I was reading it.
Yeah, we'd have to like really nitpick it to find it.
Okay, because I remember. Yeah, okay.
It was something to do with the spikes and something to do with part of the maybe the collar or something. I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is the top-selling indie comic of all time still.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when I opened it up, I mean, it says Image, but it says it was distributed by Malibu Comics.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I know Malibu. I remember that company a little bit.
But it sold 1.7 million copies.
Oh, it's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
And it's a great book.
Yep.
It's not like super duper action packed for, number one issue or whatever, but it's really good. That's the first time I'd read number one. I had never read Spawn number one ever. And I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot.
Well, he said before he even had the story, he's like, I'm going to just draw
Yeah.
to get people's attention.
Yeah.
And then I'll just fill it in later.
Yeah, I mean, the suit's iconic, I think. Even in the new one, it's tweaked somewhat, but it's still the basic black, white, and red, basically, so.
All right. You ready to start?
Yeah, man, let's start. Let's jump into it. All right, Spawn number one, May of 1992. We open in space with Earth in the background, and someone's speaking. We have some word boxes, some exposition, but not bad, not bad. And basically, the person that is speaking is saying that they don't belong here. They don't belong here and now. They need to get back there. That their soul is full of darkness, and that they made a bet with somebody. That there was this one person, this woman that they kept remembering, but they don't know who it is. But they made a bet with somebody, something, but the bet was rigged, and that they want to die again. And we find out that we turn over to the next page and we find out that it's Al Simmons, it's Spawn. And it's a great scene too, dude. I love this. It's iconic. Another iconic scene. You see it. It's like the skyline, New York City, a cathedral, lightning in the back, him standing almost like Batman on a gargoyle, but he's on top of the cathedral. It's like an iconic scene for Spawn. And so yeah, Spawn, he's perched on top of the cathedral, lightning in the background, looks awesome. And then I thought this was kind of cool. This kind of reminded me a little bit of Miller's Dark Knight Returns. You've got 3 news reporters on one page, and it tells you that this is 1987. And basically they are reporting about the death and funeral of Lieutenant Colonel Al Simmons. 3 different news stations, CNN, something called My View on 2, and Channel 7. 3 different people. And it's basically just them talking about what had happened, that he was a decorated hero, that he actually saved the president from an assassination. And if you go by real time at this time, the president would have been Reagan. So I thought that was cool in 1987, which it plays into the storyline. So yeah, they're just telling how awesome basically a person that Al Simmons was, and that it was so sad that he was gone, that he'd been killed. And then another reporter says, "Oh, it's a government cover up. I just know it is. I know it is." And they're saying his presence in Botswana at the same time as the Youngblood agents is no coincidence. You can tell me no different on that one. And I'm like, Youngblood. Oh wait, I was like, that was another creator-owned property for Image, was it not? I think.
I'm not familiar with that one, so.
I want to say Youngblood was. I could be wrong about that. Listeners, let us know, but I think so.
Yeah.
So then, of course, and then another reporter is talking about Wanda and saying, "Oh, she might have a new man, somebody named Martin Alexander, not Terry yet, not Terry, but somebody named Martin Alexander." So it's just it's a cool little nod, I think, to Frank Miller. We cut back to Al, and he vaguely remembers that there was somebody that he loved, and that there was somebody that he hated, and that there was somebody special, and that he was proud of it. And you see that when he says there was somebody to love, you see a picture of Wanda, somebody to hate, you see Jason Wynn. Then, he says that he was somebody special and that he was proud of it for a time. And he also remembers being betrayed and killed by him. But we don't get to see who him is. We just see that Al is basically just blasted away. He's just blown away. And he remembers making a promise to somebody in return to see Wanda's face again. Oh, well, excuse me, not her face, but her in general again. But he was tricked. The deal was accepted on his terms. His is in bold lettering. His rules, his way. And Spawn just got kind of this angry look on his face. And this is the first time that we'll see the power counter. I call it a counter, power timer, however you want to say it, at the bottom of the page, and it reads 9999. Spawn says, he gave me power, but he took my memories. And he thinks that if he finds this woman, he still doesn't remember her by name yet, but it's Wanda, that if he finds her, that maybe she'll know who he is and maybe spark his memory again. And then we turn over and we get a beautiful splash page. Dude, I love this.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those splash pages where you go from reading it normal to rotating it around so you can see it. And it's Spawn in one of those, not a Spider-Man pose, but it's an action pose. The cape's flowing and everything, and he's jumping down from the building. He's saying he'll find her. And when he does, he'll have the answers that he needs. And he will find him, the one who framed me. And then we cut to two of my favorite characters in the Spawn universe, Sam and Twitch. Two great detectives. And they're at a homicide where someone threw a character named Carlo Giamatti through a window on the 44th floor. Sam says 34th. Twitch like, no, sir, 44th floor. But Twitch tells him, he's like, sir, he died before he fell due to a heart condition. And Sam's like, a heart attack? No, sir. More like it was removed and it was stuffed in his mouth. And Sam's like, well, this makes 3 dead hitmen in 48 hours. And, he tells Twitch, he's like, excuse me. He tells Twitch, he kind of looks at him, he's like, this is a hell of a town. I love those guys, man. I hear those voices from the animated series. I love those characters, man. So yeah, we see several guys. We cut to another scene here. And this is, it's Spawn, so it's going to be graphic. They're a little bit more on edge in their comics, I guess, at the time. So we see several guys in the process of attacking and raping a woman in an alley. And Spawn shows up and he warns them to leave. Basically, he's like, get the hell out of here or I'm going to kill everybody. Of course, these guys, they're big bad gang guys or punks or whatever. So they think, they see him and they're just like, oh, who are you? Are you even human? What the hell? And they think he's part of the Youngbloods. Youngbloods is brought up again in the comic book. So one of the guys tries to stab Spawn with his knife, but, Spawn just grabs him and just tosses him out a window. He just like, yeet. He's like, bye, bitch. He throws him right out a window. And, he's about to try and fight Spawn. Excuse me, another guy tries to fight Spawn. Basically tells him, he's like, you don't know who you're messing with. And Spawn looks at him. He looks at him and he says, fat boy, you are way out of your league. And, this is when he first see him use his necro powers. He sends a small burst of green energy from his fingertips. And when he does, it floats like a little orb, like a little ball, but then it causes an explosion. It goes boom. And when it does, it scares the other guys away. They run away. Spawn walks up to the woman. He tells her, he's like, you're safe now. You don't have to worry about anything. The guys are gone. But before she can respond to him, he starts grabbing his head and he just drops instantly to the ground. And you don't know what's going on with him. And the woman basically asks him what's going on. Like she starts cradling him. And you find out that he gets like this searing pain throughout his mind and his body. And what's happening is he's getting bursts of memories coming back to him here and there. It's not like all at one time he's getting everything back. It's like, it's just little spurts that he's getting, but it causes him physical pain when he's getting the memories. And what he's remembering is he's remembering a funeral and he's remembering a woman that's mourning and she's mourning his passing. And and says that his soul lives while hers is dying. And he says, and then the woman, she's sitting there holding Spawn and comforting him, basically saying, it'll be okay. So I like that because most of the time people think of Spawn, they think he's this big badass supernatural hero with guns and everything, killing people. But this shows you that at the beginning, he's still very, in a way, still kind of human, still kind of, hurting. He's not, he can be tough, but he can also be, I guess, sensitive in a way too. He's still vulnerable,
It gives me a lot of the Crow vibes.
Yes. Yes.
Hardcore.
For sure. And you gotta think about it, man. It would suck for you to wake up because he doesn't know what he looks like yet, but to wake up and 5 years is gone. and you're somewhere you don't know where the hell you're at, who you are, basically, or anything, you know. I don't know. That'd be crazy, man. So then we jump to the three reporters again, and then it says 1992. So 5 years, which of course that's how the Spawn story is. 5 years has passed since he had died. And they're reporting on the recent hitman murders in the city. One reporter is describing Spawn. I thought this was kind of interesting. So somebody has seen him firsthand and reported it to the police maybe, or the news, I guess, or something. Because one reporter is actually describing him, talking about his cape and his spikes and his chains, saying, well, this person's making a statement. Don't know what it is, but they're making a statement. And we cut back to Al, and he's in the alley, and he remembers that he had a wife. He's finally remembering Wanda a little bit more, and he says, I think she was the woman that I keep remembering. I can't remember her name, though, but I think it's the one I keep seeing. I'm pretty sure she was my wife. And he knows that they were married, but he doesn't remember what happened to him these past 5 years. It's still a blank to him. And he's frustrated, and he almost kind of has like a panic attack in a way, to where he kind of says to himself, he's like, you know, I can't breathe. It's, you know, this damn mask. So he takes his mask off, and he also takes one of his gloves off. And this is when he finally gets to look and see what he looks like. And he's burnt. He's charred. Hamburger, I guess, maybe, you know, he's just, his whole body is burnt and charred. He just got his green, you know, the green glowing eyes, you know, and, he looks at himself, and he looks at himself, and he's like, Jesus. He's like, what the hell happened to me? What am I? And he starts to break down, and he starts to cry. And we cut back to Sam and Twitch, and they're in their office, and they're talking about the hitman murders again. And he's like, Sam's like, look, if this was government, there ain't no damn way we're going to get close to this case. The government's going to cover this shit up. We're going to be left out in the cold. We're not going to find nothing out about this whole situation. He says, if this wacko starts knocking off old Joe Average, he said, we're going to get involved no matter what. He said, there ain't nobody going to come in here and kill innocent people in my city. And we have a funny little moment that before hearing this in a minute for the Twitch, but Sam, he's basically like, he's like, we'll have a serious problem. And he says, how much power does this guy have? He's like, to do the damage that he's done to these people, who is he? What is he? You know, what kind of strength does he have? And Twitch cuts a little joke on him. Twitch is like, sir? He's like, I heard you only had 13 donuts today. He's like, I didn't know you were on a diet. And Sam just looks at him. He's like, Twitch, shut up. I'm in no mood for your damn jokes. He's like, shut up. And I mean, we're almost at the end of the book here. And we cut back to Spawn in the alley, and he's still distraught from everything that happens to him, you know, the way he looks and everything. And we end with I believe this is Melbosia, right? I don't think it was Violator. I think it was Melbosia that I saw on the last page, I think.
Well, it mentions the Violator on the
It said next issue Violator, but I didn't know if that was him in the picture or if that was Melbosia. I wasn't for sure.
I don't know.
Okay, one or the other.
Yeah.
It was one or the other, but whichever one it was.
We probably should have read more than one issue. I was just worried we wouldn't have the time.
No, that's fine, man. That's fine.
Next time.
So basically the character is saying that the character chuckles, basically. He's like, Spawn, man, you think you got problems now. Like, your troubles are just starting. Wait till later. And then, it says next issue, the Violator.
Yeah.
And that's how we end the issue. It was short, sweet in a way. It basically just gives you an early introduction to some main characters. I loved it. I thought it was great. Again, like I said, it's not super action-packed. Spawn doesn't do a whole lot in this one yet. Oh, and by the way, sorry about this. At the bottom of the page, now the counter reads 9995. So he's dropped 4 points because of that little burst of energy that he used on the rapist earlier in the comic book. So that lets you know that every time he uses his magical powers, his necro powers, that counter is going to go down because his powers are starting to deplete. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, I think the thing is if that counter depleted all the way to 0, I believe he would have went back to hell. But I might be wrong, though.
Did they address that in the animated series?
I remember the counter popping up every once in a while, but I can't remember. Cogliostro might have told that to him in one of the episodes. I'd have to go back and rewatch the cartoon. I can't remember. So, yeah, that was Spawn number 1. Like I said, dude, I loved it. I know you're a fan because it's yours. You own several issues, so.
I went through a big Spawn phase.
Yo, real quick, what kind of... Do you remember what kind of got you interested in wanting to read Spawn?
The movie.
Was it the movie? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie was really good, actually. A lot of people hate on it, but I mean...
I still like it.
For 1997, yeah, I bought it on Blu-ray. I got a Blu-ray, VHS, DVD, I think. So, yeah, for 1997, I think the visual effects look really good. I think the casting was really good in it, so...
Man, it only had like a $20 million budget.
Yeah.
And they like tripled it.
And for me, the standout actor and character in that one was Clown. John Leguizamo.
He's so amazing.
He's so good.
Wonder.
He is so cool. And basically, I think, he is in a fat suit, but I think he's bent, like crouched, squatting every time he's walking. Mm-hmm. You know that is not comfortable for him to do that in that fat suit, I'm sure.
Well, even the dude they got to play Spawn was really good. The bad guy was really good.
Yeah, Michael Jai White. Black Dynamite. He played Spawn, and then Martin Sheen played Jason Wynn. Even in '97, I still think he was probably an A-list actor, probably. Mm-hmm. So for him to play Jason Wynn, and unfortunately I forget the gentleman that played Terry McGinnis. He wasn't in the movie a lot, but he was in it enough to introduce him. So yeah, and for me, again, I never read the comic book. My first exposure, if I've got my time right, I think the movie was first and then the animated series.
That sounds right.
So yeah, I knew of Spawn, but I never read the comics, so the movie definitely got me into it. Love the movie. Love the HBO animated series. Keith David from Gargoyles fame played the voice of Spawn. Oh, God. Cartoon's so good.
Yeah.
Cartoon is so good. Very mature, though. It's very mature, so.
And they even had a PS1 game they used to play.
Oh, that's right. They did, didn't they? Yeah. And they put him in Kingdom Hearts. I believe, too, did they? No, or was it Mortal Kombat? No, Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
Sorry, Mortal Kombat. Yeah, Mortal Kombat 11 or something.
Kingdom Hearts is your Disney people.
Sorry, yeah. Sorry about that.
And Final Fantasy people.
But, yeah, I remember him because I've got one of the action figures from the Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn, so yeah.
So, yeah, if you want to pick this book up, the issue I've got is going for about $20 now.
You know what? For 1992, that's actually not bad.
Well, no, because they made like 1.7 million copies of it.
I know, yeah. And everybody always thinks, well, number one's amazing. Sometimes it depends. There can be later issues as more key important issues than number one. So
I think the first, the Neil Gaiman one is ridiculous.
I'd say so, yeah.
It's one of the harder ones to find. I got to pick that one up. But, and you can get it through paperbacks, Oh, yeah, they've got, was it recently or within the last couple of years? They started doing omnibuses, I believe, did they not? They did. They even did the actual art size for the first 7 issues. Okay. And it has all the original illustrations, no colors or anything, just straight pencil marks with the notes and all that. Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. If you want to pick that up, I'm not sure how much that runs, but yeah, I don't know how many omnibuses they've even done. And I think I'm gonna say this real quick. I might be wrong about this, but I think, because I've never read every comic book in the world, this comic has went nonstop for 33 years, right? Yeah, it is the longest running creator-owned comic. That's what I thought. Because you look at Batman and Superman, they've started and stopped, reset. Well, they still count. Do they still count? Yeah. I guess how Marvel did their legacy numbering and stuff too. Okay. DC actually brought that back on the bottom of theirs too. Did they? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I noticed that on Detective Comics the other day. But as far as creator owned, that's the longest running. Okay. Otherwise, it'd be either Batman or Superman. Okay. Because I was going to say, I know, or Detective or Action Comics to be. I know specific. G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero comic book that Larry Hama. Not really, I don't know if he created it, but he was a writer. He's been going with Hit since 1982 or 3. Granted, it's jumped companies, but it's in the 300s too. But I don't know if that would still count though, because I don't think he created that because that was a property that he got hired on to. So it's probably probably different. Yeah. But still, I think he's been the main writer for almost 40-year run on that comic. That's probably like one of the longest writers. Yeah.
But I mean, that's amazing. 33 years non-stop. I'm pretty sure non-stop.
Yeah.
Granted, Todd didn't write everything, because I know he left for a while, didn't he?
He did. And actually,
He didn't even draw it for a long time, did he? He kind of just stepped away altogether, did he not?
Yeah, well, he'd be over, like, making decisions.
Oh, yeah. Still the boss, but yeah.
If the interview I just seen for issue 301 was correct, he said that Greg Capullo had drawn more than anybody on Spawn.
Oh, I love his Batman artwork.
Yeah. So he was contracted to DC at the time.
Okay.
And he wanted Capullo to come draw on 301 because it was like it was either 300 or 301, whichever one was a landmark issue. And Capullo's like, even if they would have said no, I would have did it anyway.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. I wonder if he was still drawing Batman at that time, since he was contracted to DC.
This was during COVID, so no.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's right, yeah. Because when he was drawing for Batman for us.
Right after COVID.
When he was drawing Batman for us, that was what, New 52, wasn't it?
Yes.
Him and Snyder.
Yeah. So that was like 2011.
His artwork's great. Amazing, I think.
Don't get cocky. You have a lot more to learn.
From man to Spawn.
Peekaboo. I see you.
Okay, so would you like some Black History?
I sure would, man, yeah.
All right, we're going to go back, way back.
We're going to take the DeLorean way back.
Because who I thought was the first one was not actually the first one.
All right, man.
It depends who you ask, I guess.
Educate me.
All right, there's this guy named Orwin Cornwell Evans. He was a writer.
Okay.
He was considered the first African-American journalist to cover general assignments for a mainstream white paper.
Okay.
This was like in the late 30s, early 40s.
Okay.
Okay, well, he wanted to start a comic book company with his brother and 3 or 4 other people. And that company was All Negro Comics. It was the first and only comic book written, drawn, everybody was African American.
And everything.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And they only made 1 issue.
Okay.
Because of racism. This was 1947.
I'm even surprised that they even got off the ground to get 1 issue done.
Yeah, well, and then they got the 1 issue published. They did like anywhere, the estimates are from 1,500 to 3,000 copies of this.
That's still good, though.
He was wanting to do 300,000 copies, but that didn't work out.
Yeah, time period, so yeah.
Yeah, because when they went to go publish it, or buy the newsprint for it, they found out he was black, and then they wouldn't sell him
Of course they would.
the second copy.
Yeah, of course they wouldn't, yeah. I mean, there were still some decent people back then that probably didn't see color, but back then it was more...
It was harder.
Yeah, it was definitely more
It was
difficult.
2 years after World War II.
Yeah,
and a lot of these guys were veterans.
Veterans, man.
That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
It's like they went over and fought Germans.
Well, we know how our government treats veterans, so...
That's also true. That's also true. But the main character, one of the characters in there, because it was like 5 or 6 different little character stories that they were putting together.
Okay, yeah.
To kind of keep it going. His name was Lion Man.
Lion Man, okay.
Okay, I would say he's the first African-American superhero as far as what we think of as superheroes.
Okay. Costume and all, stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the costume. The character was American-born, but he lived in Africa.
Okay.
Protecting African resources of uranium.
Oh.
Not vibranium.
Not vibranium, Wakanda yet.
Hold on. He was college educated, he was a scientist, and their civilization was technology advanced.
Well, now.
Okay.
I see where this is going.
So a war-hungry country is trying to steal the uranium.
Okay. Because I guess that area is the only place that would have it naturally.
Like the biggest source of it.
The biggest source of it, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they may delve deeper in it if it would have continued.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but he's I would say he's a lot of the inspiration for Black Panther.
Of course. Lion Man, Black Panther, uranium, vibranium, for sure.
Yeah. And the book didn't do so well commercially.
It's probably because people found out it was black owned, so yeah.
But Eleanor Roosevelt, the president's wife, read it to her kids because they were all in the comics. She says, not bad.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not everybody, sees color. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll put some of the screenshots from that and some of the info on that on our social media pages.
Hell yeah.
So people can see what they look
sure.
like.
I'm going to look at that myself.
Okay, so we jump to 1954 in a book called Jungle Tales, and it's the first major company to feature a black reoccurring character.
Okay.
His name was Waku, and it was set in Africa.
Okay.
Okay? So we're jumping ahead to 1963.
Okay.
Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created a character named Gabe Jones.
Gabe Jones, okay.
We should be familiar with him, but I didn't remember it.
I don't know the name, sorry.
He was in the book Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos.
Oh.
Okay.
Now that I do know that character. I remember that
Well,
name.
he was the black dude in the first Captain America movie when they were back in...
Oh, very cool. Okay,
Yeah, so that was nice.
Very cool.
Marvel also that same year introduced a recurring black female character named Jill Jarrett in the series Modeling with Millie.
Okay.
Not familiar with that one?
No.
At that time, Stan and Jack were encouraging the other artists to incorporate African Americans into the crowd, kind of bring more into the picture because it's just been all white people.
Right.
Could you imagine just opening books for like 15 years and just be all one race?
For us, it would be difficult because the times we grew up in, the diversity was already there.
Yeah.
Back then, it would have been the norm.
I mean, hell, we used to watch Family Matters and all these other shows.
Yeah.
It wasn't no big deal.
No. Which I will say this real quick, real life for a moment. I did not see a black kid until I went to the 6th grade middle school. My elementary school I was the only mixed child down there. It was all white kids when I went to elementary school, grades 1 through 5. Well, kindergarten through 5 or whatever. I was the only mixed child. And then I went to 6th grade middle school. That's the first time I ever saw a black kid before.
Wow.
No lie.
All right, I guess.
Yeah, no lie. And I can't say that none lived where I lived at, but I never saw any. So.
Well, it makes sense. If they don't go to your school, you wouldn't.
Yeah. And when I went to middle school, Rogersville was a bigger city than what the town that I live in. So it makes more sense, I guess. A bigger population, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was born in Knoxville, so we lived in those neighborhoods. And
Yeah.
everybody was all mixed together. It didn't really matter, you know?
Yeah, right.
All right. We're going to go up to 1965 and a character named Lobo. Not the Lobo we know.
I was going to say, not the main man.
But he had his own... He was the first African-American to headline a comic book.
Oh, cool.
It was published by Dell Comics and it was set in the Old West.
Oh.
It kind of reminded me of...
Cowboy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was a wealthy cowboy, and he would leave a calling card of a gold coin with a wolf printed on it.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we may have to dig that up.
Badass, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
And then, 66, Stan Lee and Kirby created the Black Panther.
Okay.
He was inspired by an adventurer who had a Black Panther,
Like a little pet or
Yeah.
side. Okay, yeah.
not the Black Panther Party. Okay.
Well,
They wanted to separate from the party so much that they were going to start calling him Black Leopard, and they even did in one of the Fantastic Four issues.
I could get that. People would have got confused
Yeah.
for sure, yeah.
And this is before Martin Luther King was assassinated and all this stuff, so...
Yeah.
He first appeared in Fantastic Four number 52.
Okay.
They wanted him... The reason they set him into as an African, they didn't want him to be stereotyped as the way African Americans were in comics at the time, like the way they talked, and cartoons were the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. He worked with Captain America for a while, and then he joined the Avengers in 1968.
Oh, okay.
And then he got his own starring role in a book called Jungle Action
Okay.
in 73.
So it didn't take too long at all for him to get thrown right into the Avengers, did it?
No,
Just a few years.
a couple years.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, yeah.
Falcon is the first major African American hero not to have black in their name.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He first appeared in Captain America 117. In 1970, you'll be familiar with this, racism was really first addressed with the Green Lantern, Green Arrow comic.
Yep.
Because that one dude was accusing, was a Lantern of not helping black people.
Yeah, they tried to because Hal Jordan was always seen as, like a policeman first, follow the rules and stuff like that. And Oliver was definitely your liberal, I guess, your Democrat person or whatever, however you want to say that, I hate politics, so I don't know these words. But yeah, something like that. He was definitely more Yeah. So, yeah, they tried to paint Hal in a bad light in that comic, yeah.
Told you he was racist. Anyway.
Which, I mean, I never read those, I don't think, but I remember seeing some screen captures. They wrote him as an asshole, I think, a couple of times. So.
Well, I think that comic as well was dealing with a lot of serious stuff.
True. I mean, you think about it later on, you had to deal with Green Arrow's sidekick, being a drug addict and stuff later on, too. So they hit some heavy subjects and stuff.
Well, and I will say this before we go forward. Right after MLK was assassinated, Stan Lee, he used to do this thing called the soapbox, and he talked to the fans in the back of the comic.
Yeah.
Well, he had this really inspirational quote talking about how race doesn't matter and all this stuff. I'll put it on the social media, too, because it was really long and really cool.
For sure.
So at that point, like, the civil rights thing is going full-fledged. And, I couldn't find any interviews of them talking about creating Black Panther.
There may not be none out there. Maybe, I don't know.
He talks all day long about Fantastic Four and Iron Man, and when he talks about race, he's always talking about the X-Men. Even though in the previous issue, like when we talked about X-Men the last time, he said, no, that's not what we're going for. So,
well, bless Stan's heart. I think his memory was here and there sometimes.
I think that was more of a Kirby thing from everything I'm gathering.
Could have been, yeah.
Okay, so 1970, you get your first DC superhero, African-American, in Teen Titans number 26. His name was Miles Duncan.
Okay.
And that even featured the very first interracial kiss in a comic.
Wow, really?
Between him and Lilith Clay. I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
There was conflicting information whether he was the first black one or whether the next one was for DC. Mm-hmm. I'm going with that one because it was it debuted before this next one. Okay. Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now they did some stories. I think Apartheid or something like that with him. Some race related stories, I think, too, in the comics. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
And that'd be because of Neil Adams. He said he came up with the idea, given the racial makeup of the world's population, we ought to have a black Green Lantern, not just because we are liberals, but because it just makes sense.
Well, yeah.
That's his exact quote.
Yeah, John's a good character. As much aggravation I give you about him, Jon Stewart's a really good character. I like it.
72, Luke Cage comes out, and he's the first African American to have his own full series.
Okay, yeah.
Luke Cage, Hero for Hire. 73, Blade first appeared in Tomb of Dracula.
And he was just a normal human being back then. Yeah. Normal human being, yeah.
And he wouldn't get his own series until 94.
Till 94? Yeah. Okay.
In 75, that's when you get Storm, the first real black female superhero. And she's the first black X-Men.
No, but that'd been Chris Claremont, right?
Yes.
So he created her?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
cool.
Giant Size X-Men, which one day we'll cover.
Okay.
I forgot about this, but Storm and T'Challa, Black Panther,
they end up getting married at one point, did they not?
They were childhood sweethearts, apparently.
Wow, really?
I know.
Okay.
But yeah, they got married in 2006, but then they got divorced during the A versus X storyline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything there about Black Lightning from DC?
No, they didn't pop up, but I didn't go like full on. I was trying to get the first.
Yeah, totally, dude. I was just curious because I remember him from the CW cartoon and Super Friends cartoon back in the day.
And it's a cool character.
A lot of younger kids will probably remember Static Shock as being their first African-American character, probably.
I believe that's it as far as first goes. They mentioned Vixen, but Storm was before her, so I don't know why they were trying to say she was the first African.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Storm's the first African superhero, female.
Yeah.
And then Vixen's the first African-American.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
She was supposed to debut... She was supposed to get her own series, Vixen was, but then they just decided to debut her in Action Comics 521 in 1981.
Okay. I remember her popping up in some of my, 2000s or 2010s, I think, Justice League comics or something at one time, I believe. Yeah.
All right. That is our history lesson for today.
That's pretty cool, man. That's awesome. I didn't know anything about that. That's really cool.
I really want to look up that, All Negro Comics. If you're looking to buy it, it's like a $30,000 comic.
Yeah.
Because it's rare.
I was going to say, that's super rare. To be truthful with you, I'm surprised any survived because you would think at that time a lot of people probably would have just trashed them or burned them, threw them away or whatever like that. So I'm really surprised any survived whatsoever. It's great that they do. I mean, that's history that people should know about. Especially, even you don't even have to be a comic book fan. Just a history fan. It'd be good to have that, to read on.
Congratulations. I say destroy the cosmos, ask questions later.
So we got some questions and comments. Before we get there, who is your favorite black superhero?
Let me see real quick. Let me think in my head. Probably Blade would be top. And then I would say Cyborg. I like Cyborg from DC Comics.
Oh, I didn't expect that one.
Yeah, I like
Cyborg is cool.
Yeah, my first introduction to Cyborg was the Super Friends cartoon when it was on in the 80s. He popped up in there, which might have been when he might have first showed up in comic books altogether. I don't know. But I'd say those would be my top two, Blade and Cyborg. I like Cyborg. I don't remember a lot about him, but I like Cyborg, though. He's cool.
Yeah, they did him good in the cartoon.
Yeah, they kind of did him a little shitty in the live action Justice League cartoon or movie, but
yeah,
that was a that was a mess anyway. That
true.
whole universe was a mess anyway. Bless its heart. So,
yeah.
What about you, man? What was your favorite?
Storm would be top. I really like Storm, and then I think Spawn would be second.
Yeah, Spawn's up there. He's in my top 3 or 4. Yeah, for sure.
Some other people's responses was Blade.
Yep.
Blank Man.
Okay, sure. Hey,
it counts.
It counts.
Golden Roger Dodger. I don't know who that is.
Golden Roger? No, I'm not familiar with that one. No.
Some people were just messing with us. So.
Well,
Static Shock.
Yep.
That's a good one. They mentioned them quite a few times. Shadowhawk.
See, now that one I told you off mic that one was one I hadn't heard that name in forever.
Yeah.
I know nothing of the character, but I know the name though.
Power Man, which is Luke Cage.
Luke Cage, yeah.
Mr. Terrific.
Yeah, he's DC. He'll actually be in the new Superman movie coming out this year.
And then
he's got a big T painted on his face.
And somebody said Handyman, but we're not going to count that.
Hey, man, no.
I love dude that posted it though.
People, come on.
I think Autumn had something to say about it too. And she talked about Superman in Action Comics 23.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the things. Okay. Yeah, which is the Grant Morrison. It was during the New 52, and they were exploring the multiverse, and he was the Superman of Earth 23.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that. Was he not the one that was also president? Wasn't there one version of Superman on the Earth that was also the president of the United States?
He might have been. I don't remember.
Okay.
This is Grant Morrison we're talking about. So
okay.
It's possible.
I was going to say, because I could be mistaken about that, but I thought so.
All right, you got some stuff to share with us as well.
I do. This comes from one of our Discord members and listeners, Ranger 64.
I love Ranger 64.
Ranger 64 is cool. And it's not related to Spawn whatsoever. It's actually related to our Crow episode that we had done last year. And Ranger wanted to say thank you to us for covering the Crow. Says, I asked a more in-tune comic friend if she knew where I could get a copy of the Crow. She had no clue, but gifted me the one her late father owned. It almost brings me to tears just thinking of that level of trust in passing on a great comic. And I totally agree with that. Something that belonged to a parent who had passed away. A lot of times people won't part with stuff like that because of the memories and the connection they have. So for his friend to part with that, I thought was great.
That is cool.
He also, real quick, he contacted me as well because I asked him if this is okay if we could share this, and he said sure, of course. And he said I could share the names, so I'm just going to say the first names. The friend that let him have her father's copy's name was Alexandra, and her father's name was Jeffrey. And that he had passed his love of comics on to her. And we talked a little bit more, and I told him, I said the Crow comic was an amazing book. I said I even got a little emotional on that episode when we were talking about it. And he's like, yeah, I could hear and feel the emotion when you guys were covering the Crow and the Turtle book, how much, emotion you guys had for that. And, so I thought that meant a lot. I appreciate that, Ranger. You sharing that with us. And and again, I repeat myself 100 times on these episodes sometimes, but that's what it's about. You know, comic books, movies, TV, music, whatever. That's what it's about. It's about connecting with other people, sharing these stories, you know, and finding, whether they're online only friends or real life friends, you meet new people that you probably never met any other time. But you meet them either where you're listening to us or you're on our pod or Discord or whatever. And that means a lot. It really does, that people want to share that stuff with us. You know?
Yep.
It does. That means a whole lot. And I've got one more, and this has got to do with Spawn. And this is from a fellow podcaster. His name is Mickey. And everybody, please check out he's on several podcasts. He's on a podcast named Be Action. He's also got a YouTube channel, The Nerd Initiative, in which they cover, him and his other members of the channel, they cover everything from comic books to movies to TV, animation. So yeah, definitely check that out, The Nerd Initiative. It's really cool. But Mickey said, that Spawn was one of his first comic book related action figures. He had the 1994 Mcfarland Special Edition Spawn figure that came with the #1 issue. I feel like my brother might have had that. I don't know, because I remember like the comic was very similar to that cover, I think. But he says not long after the movie came out, and he was totally in on Spawn. He says, I caught the animated series and reruns later, and he still picks up Spawn comics to this day, and occasionally will pick up a Spawn action figure every once in a while. So that's cool. Mickey, I appreciate you letting me share that with us. And like I said, everybody, go check out the Nerd Initiative on YouTube. It's an amazing channel. I think you guys love it. And check out Be Action. It's a great podcast.
All right, I got one from our YouTube channel.
Oh, do we?
Friend of the show, Anthony.
All right, cool.
It was on our Transformers episode we just did.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because I've responded to that. Okay, cool. All right. Anthony says, I have so many comments on this one, but I won't do a rant. Hey, ran away. I enjoyed this one. A prequel comic. I like that they do more with Punch Counterpunch character. Me too. I love that character. Robots in Sky series was great. And also Armada, Cybertron, and Energon. Yeah, they were. I think Cartoon Network did them a little dirty on the scheduling of when it came on and stuff, but those are good too, all three shows. I like the Netflix original pretty well. But nice one, guys. Oh, and the pencil reference was great. Thank you, Anthony, for that response on YouTube.
We appreciate it, man.
Hey, if you got a rant, anybody got a rant on our Discord, rant on our Facebook, rant on our Instagram or YouTube, rant away. We'll read them or we won't read them, depending on if you want us to. That's what we want. Like I always say, we want that interaction with everybody. So.
Makes us better.
It does. It makes us better. And like I said, I want to know that, you know, people feel comfortable enough to share, like Ranger did and like Mickey, that share their personal stories. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what it's all about. And,
yeah.
It means a lot. It does. It means a whole lot to me. To me personally, I know it does to you too. It means a lot to us. That's what we're here for, to entertain you and hopefully bring back some memories and, make you feel good for, you know, an hour or whatever it is, you know, so.
All right. What are we doing next?
Next episode, we are going to cover from 1978, Firestorm, Volume 1, Number 3 from DC Comics. It's the first appearance of Killer Frost.
Ooh.
And that comic is written by Jerry Conway. People remember him from, oh God, what else did he do? I forgot.
Was he Snowman and Smokey and the Bandit?
No, that was a different one. Different guy, yeah.
My bad.
I'll have some more information on Mr. Conway on the next episode.
No, he's actually a pretty a big writer.
Yeah,
I've heard of
is.
him.
But he is one of the co-creators of Firestorm. And this is from his first 5-issue run from 1978. And I completely forgot Killer Frost debuted in his comic book. And it's pretty good.
So this came out the same year that Christopher Reeve's first movie came out?
Yep. June of 1978, it said.
I've been the same month.
Yeah, number 3. And I thought that was really cool to do her first appearance because I think she's a cool character.
Yeah,
I
loved her in The Flash.
Yeah, and she's a badass lady in that issue right there, man. She's badass. So yeah, that'll be our next episode will be Firestorm number 3. And I guess that'll be it for this episode. You got any parting words for us, man?
Yeah, go check out our YouTube channel with the toy reviews we've been doing.
Yeah, man. We got some good toy reviews coming out, I think.
The next one coming out will be the Deadpool Marvel Select.
Yeah, good toy. Good toy. I like that figure a lot.
And check us out on, you already said, our Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram.
We have a free Discord. There's no reason not to come hang out.
Oh, yeah, real quick on our Discord. I also want to shout out real quick a couple new members to our Discord. The Doom Generation podcast and Dustin from the Flicks and Friends podcast, the Baron's Hideout podcast, and Be Action podcast. Dustin's a busy fella. He's got a lot going on over there. So
He gets around.
I want to welcome them to our Discord and to the Geek family. So thank you guys. And I guess we'll end it there. And until next time, that has been the Geeks with Beards podcast. I'm Dan with Sean, and we will catch you on the next one. Goodbye, everybody.
Geeks with beards. Geeks with beards. Look who's here. Geeks with beards. No need to fear. We're right here. We got beards. So listen clear. Geeks with beards. Geeks with beards. Look who's here. Geeks with beards. No need to fear. We're right here. I'm in your ear. So listen clear. No one else doing it like us. Also, we just might cuss. Just cause. No, we ain't playing. And we're just saying. And we're making a podcast. It's called.
Oh, yeah, next next episode. We're tired, folks. We had a rough night at work. Why does my nose have to stop up when I try to talk?